All right, another microorganism we're going to talk about are fungi. So most fungi are multicellular, but they cannot produce their own food. That's where they differ from plants. So a lot of times we tend to group fungi and plants. It's actually not accurate because they cannot produce their own food the way plants can, even though they are multicellular. So they cannot move on their own, which is we talked about protozoa and how they are typically able to move on their own. Fungi are not. So with fungi reproduction, so they do reproduce two separate ways. So they can reproduce sexually, which requires two genetically distinct or genetically different individuals, or asexually, which only requires one individual. So that's similar to binary fission that we talked about with protozoa and with bacteria. So spores are actually what's going to aid in their reproduction. So spores are actually dormant reproductive cells that wait for the right conditions, and then they're going to aid in either the sexual or the asexual reproduction, depending on the species of fungi. It could be either. So those spores are going to wait for just the right time. They're going to wait for the right conditions, maybe the right weather, the right moisture, and then those are actually going to become active in order to help with either sexual or asexual reproduction, again, depending on the species of fungi. So there is definitely some good in fungi. So they are extremely important to the environment. So they're going to help with our nutrient cycles, so nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, almost all of them. And they're also going to be a big player in decomposition, which is a vital, important part of our food chain and of nutrient recycling again, as well as recycling elements and minerals back into our ecosystem. And they're also an important food source for animals. All right. And for people, fungi are great because they can actually produce some of our medications. A lot of times people even eat them as food, or they play an important role in forming some of our favorite foods. And some fungi can actually convert insecticides or other harmful chemicals that we'll put into nature back into carbon dioxide, water, or other basic elements that are again going to help that cycling process. So while fungi definitely have some benefits for our environment and for people, there's also some bad parts about them too. So we do have pathogenic fungi, and there's also fungi that are just harmful for other ways. So one of the big ones is food spoilage. So food tends to spoil a lot quicker because of fungi growth. Humans can also be highly allergic to certain fungi. And then infections and diseases like ringworm or athlete's foot is a really big one, are both fungal infections. And so that can cause that kind of infection or disease from our fungi.